What's up, guys? This is Tom Burkhardt from car-revs Daily, going out for a performance drive review in the brand new 2018 Ford EcoSport. This is the EcoSport 2.0 liter titanium four-wheel drive, so definitely at the top of the range for the EcoSport, which comes in as a subcompact crossover below the Escape, and stickers from 19995 for 2018. As Ford's really chasing the youth customer with sort of a really fun and city-friendly size package, but one that has lots of connectivity and all the modern features that people really want without really breaking the bank and going much over 25K. So this Ford EcoSport has been not exactly eagerly anticipated among Ford loyalists. You know, it looks a little silly, it's a little bit tall and a little bit stubby in its overall dimensions, but the real purpose of this vehicle is to bring some of Ford's excellence in small car handling and drive dynamics into a type of vehicle that is, you know, cool, or is at least cooler than the Fiesta sedan and hatchback. So this EcoSport really is very surprising on the road. I've been really pleased with it over the last week. So let's do a little bit of a launch start. We've got a 6-speed traditional torque converter automatic, and this 2-liter 4-cylinder making 166 horsepower, 149 foot-pounds of torque, and that is up from the standard motor, which is a 1-liter turbo triple making 135 horsepower, maybe 133 foot-pounds of torque. So this is the up-level engine, and this 2-liter comes with the all-wheel drive, what Ford calls four-wheel drive, but it's basically just all-wheel drive. And then the turbo triple is exclusively front-wheel drive. So this 2-liter is an up-level engine and doesn't make this car a rocket ship by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe about 9 seconds to 60 versus maybe 9.9 for the turbo triple. But what this car does deliver in spades is a little bit of a really fun demeanor and a fun nature that really reminds me of the Fiat 500 in a couple really fun ways. It's just a giggle to drive around with really accurate steering and really precise handling, and big car feel on the highway, but a really small, nimble, and chuckable feel around 2-lane roads like this. Not a ton of passing power, so I'm hoping this Ranger in front of us kind of speeds up a little bit, but we'll be okay if he doesn't. Ranger is another nameplate that Ford is bringing from its global stable into the United States market in the next couple of years, similar to this EcoSport, which is a global vehicle built in Brazil and sold all over Europe and Asia, as well as now America. So really an interesting decision on Ford's behalf not to fully, you know, develop a subcompact crossover exclusively for the U.S. market. I mean, why? They've already got this vehicle that's genuinely pretty good, and it really is. As you can see, I'm really hoofing it around these corners, and it just glides right through very easily. We're in sport mode for the automatic versus the standard drive, so it's a little less eco-focused than it would be otherwise. But the sport mode is nice because it actually helps the car feel like it hustles a little bit. The naturally aspirated 2-liter 4, I think, is a good motor for people who want the most loaded and premium driving EcoSport. But I would like to drive the turbo triple. It does not come in a stick shift in the U.S. market, but it's still supposed to be a hoot of a motor, and one that is well lauded even in cars as big as the Fusion. So it could do well in this EcoSport, and that'll be the engine that's on most of the EcoSports that are out there. This titanium model is the top trim. There are 4 trims available: SE, SEL, SES, which has like a nice blacked out front fascia, and then this titanium, which basically has everything standard, from about $26,000. And then adding the larger engine is, you know, maybe $800 or $900. So that takes to about $27,000. However, this car has about $3,000 in launch incentives, so that takes us back down to just above $25,000. At which point, EcoSport feels like really good value. It's really well equipped. Keyless start. This awesome 8-inch pinch and zoom navigation screen is pretty cool, pretty good. Works very well, and is a step up versus even some of Ford's other latest like Sync 3 applications. I don't know what it is. I think this is just a new level of tech for the screen itself. So same hardware, same software, I guess I should say, but much better hardware makes this a really good touchscreen with every kind of connectivity: CarPlay, Android Auto, 4G Wi-Fi. It's got Ford Connect app-based controls for unlocking and things like that. Blind spot monitor, backup camera, rear cross traffic alert. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. This car is really, really nicely equipped for being so affordable. So that's really great news. I was a little worried once I got in it that it was going to have like the Escape syndrome, which is like, Escape is pretty good from 25 grand, but then when you start getting stuff on it, it's like at 35 and 38 grand, it's a little less impressive when you consider competitors that are out there with more sophisticated vehicles for that price. So EcoSport does really, really well in bringing that high drive position, a little bit of a cooler, at least more modern and contemporary look on the road than traditional compact cars. And then of course you get all these features and pretty good fuel economy, up to like 29 on the highway, while not breaking the bank and being really, really just cheap. I don't know how to say it. It's cheap and cheerful. It's cheap is not a bad term in this neck of the woods. So EcoSport is definitely has a lot of surprise and delight going for its for a vehicle that was on paper is not exactly something that would really light the books on fire, but really well equipped with like we said, it even has a Bang & Olufsen stereo system, which is like shocking. I think Bang & Olufsen is Ford's new premium speaker and amp provider, replacing Sony, which, you know, there used to be Sony branding on a lot of the premium Fords. I think that has been replaced by Bang for 2018 and moving forward. And it definitely, it's kind of like it's exciting and a nice thing to see on like Raptors and loaded Expeditions for $50 or $60 or $70,000. But absolutely shocking on a vehicle that's this small and this cheap. So let's do a little stereo sample. Okay, can't do more than 15 seconds or YouTube won't let me monetize this video. But the stereo is pretty good. There's a lot more thump than you would think for such a cheap machine. There is a little thump and jiggle from stuff in the speakers, like in the door frame or something. But that might just be like my junk that I've got in here. But genuinely sounds pretty good. Refinement is pretty good in the car. Ride quality is decent. But wind noise and road noise are very, very well hushed. And then we get to the two aces that this Ford EcoSport has, which is its steering feel is awesome. Drive position is really, really good. Seats, although tiny, I mean the car's like kind of, you know, it's a tiny machine, but seats and drive position very, very good, very comfortable, even for an ample, you know, average American sized individual like myself and perhaps yourself. It's definitely that's a huge ace in the hole versus even Focus, which due to its interior design, it just feels a little bit claustrophobic. Whereas like EcoSport is the absolute opposite of that. This dash is so low and so clean and nicely integrated, and then we have this little bit taller roof, which really makes all the difference in the world in terms of perceived roominess. Backseat, of course, still tiny, competing with cars like the new Toyota CHR, whose backseat is basically like unusably tiny. I mean, there is decent headroom in the EcoSport, just not much leg or knee room to speak of. But hey, you know, that's par for the course for these super mini SUVs, and EcoSport does deliver in terms of big cargo capacity. It's got 20 cubic feet behind the back seats, and then 51 cubic feet, I think, with the back seats folded, which is pretty huge. That's pretty big for such a teeny machine, and it's much bigger than you would get in I think, you know, even Taurus these days has maybe like 18 or 19 cubic feet in the trunk. So to have 20 cubic feet back there in one of Ford's smallest vehicles is really nice. And then, of course, this really plucky handling is the gift that keeps on giving. I'm really not being very forgiving with this EcoSport around corners here, and the car is genuinely hanging on. It's game to drive enthusiastically, even if that isn't its main mission in life. It does it really well. And of course, that's, you know, Ford has had this best-selling vehicle in Fiesta in the UK and many other sort of handling-oriented car markets, and they've really got some of the best guys in the world in terms of tuning the handling and the drive feel of their small vehicles. And this EcoSport really benefits from that. Four-wheel independent suspension is very nice at this price point. Even some LED daytime running lights with, you know, automatic lights, automatic wipers, Some nice, good stuff there that is a little bit unexpected for such an affordable machine. So, I mean, I'm having a little bit of fun driving it around here. Of course, small cars driven hard, you know, the old adage of a small car can be as fun as a super fast car around a twisty road if you're in the right frame of mind. And that is definitely true of EcoSport. And I will say, this EcoSport is one of the most fun subcompact crossovers I've driven. It's got enough power to make it entertaining and good enough handling, brakes, and suspension and steering feel to really make you play along and sort of work for that speed. Yeah, you've got to have your foot on the floor, and yeah, that does impact fuel economy, but who cares? It's fun, and it's frisky, and it's definitely affordable. So EcoSport is a very, very positive entry in Ford's model lineup. Loyalists might need to drive it to really realize, hey, this is not a bad car at all. But when they do, they're really going to come around and see, hey, this has sort of the visibility and the perceived roominess of something like Escape for potentially, you know, $5,000, $10,000 less, which is a big, big advantage in the marketplace, where Escape has been is a little bit too expensive to be cross-shopped with some of the miniest super minis out there, like the Nissan Kicks, or that CHR, Honda HR-V, Fiat 500X, things of that nature. So EcoSport, super cheap and cheerful, pretty fun to drive, and fun to own. I'm a fan of this car. You should definitely go check it out if you're looking for a crossover that has all-wheel drive available, has some of the credibility of a crossover in terms of being able to handle big snows and maybe a little bit of very light off-roading, but also has, you know, a lot of the best of Ford's technology and features integrated at a really affordable price. I mean, that's just an amazing value proposition that I'm really impressed with. I mean, things like auto climate are pretty impressive at this price. The new nav has real-time traffic, which is very, very impressive and a nice way to one up the CHR, which has like the Scion-based Toyota system. So generally, EcoSport is a good little car. It's a good little car. What is it missing? What does it need? Well, the only thing I can really think of are like standard tinted windows all around, because it is, as like a, you know, as a grown man, it is a little bit embarrassing to drive the EcoSport around like as enthusiastically as I have. You know, I've been driving it in traffic just like I was with the Raptor, which is like, you know, F the world, don't ask me for shit. I'm taking this lane. So when you're driving the Raptor like that, people are like, all right, fella, go right ahead. But in the EcoSport, people are like a little bit incredulous. They can't believe the gall that you've got. So maybe some tinted windows to protect your pride and privacy would be nice. But otherwise, very, very pleasantly surprised, and I know you will be too. Go check out the EcoSport. It is available now, and oh, the last thing I want to mention is it feels really, really well built. Really well built. There's not a rattle in here. Everything feels extremely solidly assembled, which you can't take for granted when you've got, you know, a car coming from like built in Brazil, for example, which is very different than most of Ford's vehicles for the North American market. You know, you can't take that stuff for granted, and I'm thrilled to report at how high quality the assembly feels in the EcoSport. I mean, even this stuff is like, it's kind of soft touch. The doors not so much, but you know, there's nice elements in here that do reinforce a quality feel. In addition to this really nice slim touchscreen coming out of the dash, sort of Mercedes-like. Very, very pleasant, and then the whole vehicle just feels like they've screwed it together exceptionally well, and the car is going to last a long time. So, awesome news to report on the EcoSport. We'll see you guys next time. This is Tom Burkhardt from Car-Revs Daily. Check out the other reviews, and be sure to click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. That stuff really helps YouTube's algorithm decide what is good to watch. Alrighty, see you guys next time. Bye-bye.